So between all of that, I would think, yes, we can get something done in Cincinnati. Now, where's the right price, the right gauge here? And this is interesting too, Mike. And I know you probably know this, but Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, Max Crosby, right? They're all above $34 million. Then there's a gap. Montez Sweat is the next guy at $24 million. Trey Hendrickson certainly has been better than him the last few years. There's no doubt about that. So I sit here and go, yeah, he's not Nick Bosa or Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or that, but he's definitely better than Montez Sweat and that crew that's making $24 million. So, yeah, when I look at it, that number 30, 29, 31, whatever, that's kind of where I agree with you. I think that makes sense. That'll make him happy. And I forgot about Josh Allen. He's involved in that, too. I missed his contract.
And Brian Burns and T.J. Watt. Yeah, 3 around 28. And that's the number. 28's important because that's where I think the Bengals are.
Gotcha.
They don't want to bridge from 28 to 34, 35, 36. That's the key.
You know where I messed up is like what I'm looking at is not counting freaking, I think, Brian Burns as a D line. They're counting him as a linebacker. So that's where I messed up in that their little spot there. Sorry about that,
And it's funny, Danielle Hunter got in there this year with a 1-year extension, and it's that bullshit new money game. He's not making 35-6. And look, none of them for the most part. The only ones that are making what that number shows are the ones who had no contract at all when they signed. The new money and the old money are the same. And that new money game drives me crazy because it's an easy way to begin this process of lying to the fans about what these guys are really making. And the problem is because the number gets pumped up and the agents want the number to be pumped up and the players want the number to be pumped up, it increases more resentment. And that's the irony of this. The players and the agents want to create the impression that they're making more money than they are. But that only makes the fans less likely to be sympathetic to them when they're getting screwed because they're not making as much money as they're telling the world they're making.
None of it makes sense. I mean, most of the public is anti-rich guy billionaire and pro-worker, blah, blah, blah. And, here's the guy, the worker who's earning it, and all of a sudden people go back onto the side of the billionaire. I don't understand it either. It's a crazy psychological experiment.
And millionaire and billionaire for most people is synonymous, and it's not. Trust me, there is a dramatic difference between having 1 million and 1,000 1 millions or more, because there aren't any owners who are just billionaires, 1 billion. They're multi-billionaires, multi-billionaires, upwards of 70 billion for the Walton Penner Group that owns the Denver Broncos, printing money for decades with the Walmart franchise. David Tepper around 20 billion, 10, 15 billion. Like most of these folks are north of 5 billion. So you take the 1,000 million and you multiply it by 5,000 million. And a lot of players aren't millionaires. Liquid cash after taxes. Minimum salary right now is around $1 million. Okay, so depending upon where you live, you're getting $500,000 for a year of football when it's all said and done after the tax man gets paid, federal and state, depending upon what state you're in. So I just wish people would understand that better. And it's just easy to resent anyone who has more. And I think it's easier for fans to identify with the players because it's impossible to identify with a multi-billionaire.
That's why I don't understand why sometimes they go on that side. I think it goes back to the decal on the helmet, the uniform. We've had that conversation.
Right. Yeah. Rooting for laundry. Yeah. Jerry Seinfeld, you're rooting for laundry.
But you're right about that. You feel like they're on the side of the player, but I don't know. Sometimes I get a little confused about that. All right, so within that.
Well, let's play Trey Hendrickson from yesterday. Cool. Let's do that. Yep. Let's hear Hendrickson. He went on Pat McAfee's show yesterday to react to what Katie Blackburn had to say, basically, don't worry, be happy. And here's what Hendrickson had to say in response.
Communication has been poor over the last couple of months. That's something that I hold in high regard. They have not communicated with my agent directly. I would have been willing to sign 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and this year. It was communicated with me that we would get something done this year. And also, it reiterated with Duke's comments at the Combine. So I kind of treat it like a house now. So like house values have gone up. You can say respect, but respect is something that I have for Zach Taylor, and I take that approach every day, being on time, communicating with him, and telling him that yes, sir, I'm going to do the right things and all those things. And there's a mutual respect. Just to say the word respect, and then actions are speaking a lot louder in a different direction. It's disappointing.
Now, when they say we're going to take care of you, we're going to get something done, that's on their terms.
Yeah, right.
Like we said this with Brock Purdy, the easy question, does he deserve a new contract? Yes. The harder one is, what's it going to be worth?
Yeah, right.
They did this to Jamar Chase last year.
Yes.
They offered him a contract that when you look at the total value and the new money APY, he's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, yada, 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 and the structure was crap. So we're going to get it done. Here's our offer. That's the thing. We're willing to do something, but we're not willing to do what we need to do to get it done. We've offered you a contract, but it's an offer you can't accept. And he's right about the house price going up.
Yeah.
The market changes. When you delay, there's a consequence. And it's not enough to just say you're under contract for one more year, be happy. Or here's our best offer, be happy. Yeah. Why can't you just take it? Why do you have to be so difficult? Why do you want more? Why do you not want to do the thing we want you to do? It really is infuriating when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's the power, again, of the CBA, and as we know, it's hard to change it, and the owners and the negotiators on that side just have more leverage in the whole situation altogether. And it is infuriating, yes. But with Hendrickson here, I mean, he's in a spot where I understand him being frustrated. I also understand communication probably being poor. We've kind of heard these type of things. The Cincinnati Bengals dragged their feet, like you just talked about. I mean, Trey Hendrickson, call Jamar Chase, call T. Higgins. They're going to all tell you, yeah, things weren't all that smooth throughout this whole process. As you talked about, too, the Bengals are short-staffed. They kind of just moved to their own pace to a degree here. But I do believe between Joe Burrow and the effect of everything he said here and the things that I'm talking about, that they have nobody on that side of the ball, that they're really paying anybody, like nobody near the top of the market type of money, that I would think the pressure's on the Bengals here and that they got to do something. And it's just that they don't want to pay him Nick Bosa money. And to your point, you're like 100% right. Yeah, the market's gone up. The price tag for good defense ends. The salary cap goes up, so the money goes up. Yeah, that's the way it goes. But where is that? What's that number that makes him happy? Is it 30? Is it 31? I don't know. He certainly deserves to be paid more than Brian Burns and Josh Allen Hines for what he's done the last 2 years. The only difference is they're in their prime and they have a lot to go forward. And as we know in the NFL, when you hit plus 30, there's a thought, and it's tangible and real, that things start to go downhill. And that's where I think it gets complicated too with the whole negotiation.
Josh Hines Allen, by the way, not Josh Allen Hines.
I'm on a roll today. I'm on a roll of idiocy today. Thank you very much.
Right church, wrong pew. We'll need to flash your guiding light from the 3rd century BC. Maybe that'll inspire you in the right direction. Maybe that's the thing that'll bring you back. Anytime that you're going off the rails, we need to put the picture of that sculpture, statue, whatever the proper art term is.
Get your crap together, right?
And you'll be right.
I know.
Back
between that, I couldn't speak there, and like I told you, the tool I was using for the contracts and all of that, I only had defensive linemen on there, and I forgot Brian Burns and them are classified as outside linebackers, which is stupid because, come on, they're not really outside linebackers.
And they call them all edge rushers, and that's the best way to bring the two together. Because whether you're a defensive end or a linebacker depends upon the system the team runs.
Exactly.
I've gotten into debates with others about whether or not, for example, Michael Parsons is a linebacker or a defensive end, and he played more of this or that or whatever. Well, they have him listed as a linebacker, so he's a linebacker. But is he a defensive end? I don't know. He's an edge rusher, and they'll play games like that when it's in their best interest. And that's what this is. It's playing games. Pete points out that Bengals fans have been circulating a clip from 2009, Hard Knocks, where Katie Blackburn negotiating with Andre Smith, remember him? He was a first-round pick out of Alabama, supposed to be like a generational tackle.
Right.
He never really panned out, but he was a first-round pick, and it's time to get paid.
Right.
And she said, you're offering these people so much money, and for some reason, they're saying it's not enough. And that is just a poisonous attitude that is aimed at getting public opinion to turn against the player. Just like what I said yesterday, when the Cowboys put out there, they've made Micah Parsons an offer to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Yeah, that's to get people to say, why are you being selfish? Why do you want so much money? Why can't you just be happy? Why won't you be happy? My life would be so much easier if you would just be happy and take the offer. And that does tap into the fan bias that points toward keeping the team together and having everyone out on the field performing.
There you go.
Just be happy. Why can't you just be happy? I'm getting by with my whatever I make. You should be happy at getting 1,000 times whatever it is I make. That's the attitude, and whether they do it on purpose or not, they push those buttons with the fans to try to stir up that resentment and in turn put pressure on the. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.